Hello friends, it's ADHD dude back with another video, and today we will be talking about study tips, which is ironic, because I should be studying for a math test I have tomorrow, but I'm making a YouTube video instead. That's just how it be sometimes. So when you have ADHD, studying can be fairly difficult, and so these are just some ideas of ways to help you study that I came up with during my creative writing class yesterday. Don't judge me. Okay, so the first study tip is figuring out what time you work best at. Like last semester I realized if I tried to do assignment the night before it was due, it would take me like over an hour to do each one, and I had to do like 2 of them. And that was too long because I just couldn't focus. But if I got up at 5:30 in the morning, because it was an 8 a.m., and I needed to print all these things, if I got up at 5:30 in the morning, I could do each one in about 15 minutes or less. So for me, the morning worked out really well for doing homework and stuff. So maybe you work better at night, maybe you work better in the morning, maybe you work better in the middle of the day while you're eating lunch. Just, you need to figure out when you work the best. So, the second tip has to do with background noise, because I know some people can't focus if there's too much noise, some people can't focus if there's no noise. It all just depends. Like, there are a lot of times where I need noise if I'm doing it in the middle of the day, but if I'm doing it early in the morning or late at night, then no noise is preferable. So you just need to figure out what kind of background you can work with. Next is location. You need to try to figure out where you work best. Is it in your room? Is it in the kitchen if you live at home or if you live in an apartment? Is it a commons area in your dorm if you live in a dorm? Is it in a restaurant, a dining hall, outside in a park? But try to figure out where you work best, because it'll help you to be able to focus if it's somewhere that you know you can actually get work done, rather than being in bed and wanting to go, I want to sleep instead. So try to figure out what kind of location works best for you. Another study tip I have has to do with color versus black and white. Do you prefer your notes to be colorful and fun, and like different colored pens and highlighters, or do you prefer things to be black and white and that helps focus better? But that's something that you need to figure out. It's all a personal preference. Sometimes I prefer color, sometimes I prefer black and white. It all just varies. So try to figure out what sort of color you prefer whenever you're studying or doing homework, or if your teacher doesn't care if you do things in like pink pen and you want to do it in pink pen, do it in pink pen. Another study tip has to do with snacks and water, because sometimes you get hungry or you get thirsty and you know that if you get up you're not going to get back to what you're doing. So having a water bottle or a snack within easy reach can really help you out with studying or getting homework done, because then you won't have to get up and disrupt yourself. You can just reach over and it can be in your mouth in like 0.5 seconds, and it's great. This next tip is geared more towards college, because I never had this experience in high school or lower, but if your professor, teacher, instructor, whatever title that they have, that give you access to old quizzes and tests with answer keys, utilize them. Those things have saved my butt in the math quizzes I've had so far. And so it gives you an idea of what to expect and what they typically put on those, and so you can study exactly more what you need to, rather than the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell that's asking some other biology-related question. I don't know biology, but some other thing with like ribosomes or something. I'm not sure, but practice tests and quizzes, if you have access to them, utilize them. The next tips is one that a lot of people seem to suggest online, is breaking up your time. Don't try to be like, okay, for these 2 hours, I'm just going to study and do homework, nothing else, because that might not work for you. What you need to do is have it be where it's like, okay, I'm going to work for like 20 minutes and then get a 5-minute break. Work for 20 minutes, get a 5-minute break, and just have some sort of pattern to what you're doing, or have a sort of system for your studying time. That way you're not just spacing out for 2 hours and then actually not remembering anything, because breaking them into smaller chunks with breaks in between is better for being able to remember, because you might actually focus on what you're doing rather than just, I'm going to stare at this piece of paper for 2 hours and then get nothing actually done. This tip is just one that I thought of because it helps me a lot, is to have a lot of space. Like an entire giant table, or take over the floor, just so you can spread everything out and be able to see it at once. It helps me a lot to be able to just look around and be like, okay, here's this, rather than having a couple piles on like a desk going, where the heck did this worksheet go? So having a lot of space can be really helpful. That, or if you are more about like having a small amount of space so that you don't take up a giant amount, then go with that. But again, it's all about personal preference and what works best for you. This next tip is kind of obvious in a way, but it's make sure that you have everything that you need before you start studying, doing homework, because if you're studying, you're just like, oh yeah, I'm in the zone, I'm getting stuff done, and then you're just like, wait, I need this thing from another room or in another place, and you have to get up, you might lose your focus and then not want to go back to it. That has happened to me countless times, so make sure that you have everything beforehand so that you don't have to get back up. This one's like a completely optional thing, but just like comfortable clothes, just being in something comfortable that's not just like, oh yeah, this shirt's making me itchy or these pants are too tight. Just wear something comfortable that you know you won't distract you too much. Kind of a weird tip, but maybe it might help somebody. Now, I know with ADHD, people procrastinate a lot. Don't do that! Don't cram the night before, it will not work. Trust me, I might be kind of doing that tonight with my math test, but at the same time, it's kind of like the quiz, but irrelevant. Don't cram. Don't do it. It might work for some people, but don't test it, because then you might fail, and then it'll be tragic and sad, so do not do that. My last study tip that I have is just be organized. Try to have some sort of like system of folders, notebooks, binder, accordion folder, whatever, but make sure that you don't lose what you have to do. Don't lose the assignment papers, don't lose worksheets, don't lose the reading, but just try to be organized with things so that you can easily be like, okay, I need to do this, and you can immediately find it, rather than having to search through like 20 things being like, where the hell did this go? Alright, that's about all my study tips, so I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.